Alright, thank y'all for coming to view my presentation. I'm going to be doing on the theory of utilitarianism. I'm going to explain to y'all what it is, and then I'm going to give y'all some examples of decisions that somebody might have to make, and then the decision that a utilitarian would actually make. And then I'm going to try to persuade y'all into thinking the same way as a utilitarian. Importance. Some believe that there are absolute moral rules one must never break. Okay, so absolute moral rules are what you would go to jail for: murdering somebody, maybe lying to somebody, stealing. These are universal moral rules that most people agree are that everyone should follow. Don't kill somebody, don't lie to somebody. Alright, and then I'm going to read a quote from Peter Singer. He's a philosopher. Most moral rules are useful guides to what will bring about the best consequences. But if they are not, if we really know with certainty that by obeying a moral rule will have worse consequences than breaking it, should we obey it, and why? Okay. So an example of one of these moral of utilitarianism could be like if someone comes up to you and they say, do you like my shoes? And you don't like them and they're ugly. So then you lie to them and say, so if you lie to them and say that they're ugly, then they're going to be sad. If you do lie to them, then they're going to be happy. If you lie to them and tell them, yeah, I do like your shoes. Okay, so that's a basic, easy decision to make there. All right. And now, a more complicated one would be like, maybe you have to murder somebody so that they don't go kill 10 people. Or I'm going to give scenarios on this to help it make a lot more sense. I'm just trying to help y'all to understand exactly what I'm talking about here. Decisions. Utilitarians make decisions that some may see as being unethical. Although the whole point of being a utilitarian is to try and be morally right. If the morally right decision will take the lives of more people, is it really the right decision? Or is our goal as mankind to preserve the most life and happiness? The goal of utilitarian, to promote the most happiness for the greatest number of individuals, and to make the best decision that is going to help everyone the most. This is the greatest happiness principle, utilitarianism. We want to make the most people happy. How a utilitarian sees things. This ethical theory is based on the idea that the result or consequence of any act determines its moral worth. Alright, so I have a small picture here of a train that can either take the route to the left, which will kill one person, or the train can stay on the same track he's on, and he'll actually end up killing 4 or 5 people on that track. So, which decision is the right one to make? There's no alternatives here. He can't stop the train in time to not kill anybody. So he has to decide, am I going to kill one person with my train, or am I going to kill 5 people with my train? Alright, I'm a firefighter, and I'm going to give a scenario. So we pull up on scene of a apartment complex fire, and we know that there's 10 people on the 10th floor, and there's one person on the 2nd floor, and we can either go to the 3rd floor first and save all the 10 people, and we can only go to one floor before the whole entire building collapses and everybody in the building just dies. So we decide, what are we going to decide? Are we going to decide to save 10 people, or are we going to decide to save one person? Or it could even be maybe there's 5 people and there's 4 people on the other floor. So what are we gonna do? Are we gonna save more people, or are we gonna save less people? So the options are save 10 people and let one person die, or save one person and let 10 people die. The utilitarian way. In order to promote the most happiness in this scenario, would of course for a utilitarian be to save the people on the 3rd floor. This would make more people happy, 10 people being able to stay alive and be with their families. Why? If only one person was saved, then his or her family would be happy, yes. But there would be a far greater number of happy people if the 10 were saved. And they can go home to their 10 different families. That's a lot more people. That's a lot more happiness being promoted here. Okay, so everyone's thinking, why would anyone disagree with that scenario, with utilitarianism? Okay, the reason is because this case is easy to agree on, of course. But some cases are more taboo and a lot harder for you to agree on without breaking one of the universal moral laws. So I'm going to give another scenario to let y'all ponder. Alright. Scenario 2. A judge is faced with a decision. Alright, there is a very real threat from an angry mob of rioters and possible murderers who are demanding a culprit for a crime. Unless the criminal is produced, tried, and executed, they will destroy a whole entire community. The judge has no idea who committed the crime and will not find the culprit in time. The judge finds a disreputable and disliked man who has no family. So, the judge's decisions here, or the judge has two choices. He can either decide to execute. He can either decide to execute the one man that he had in mind, which would stop the mob from going and killing hundreds, if not thousands, of people in the small community. Or he can decide not to execute the innocent man, which of course would be morally right, but he would still be allowing this angry mob to go kill hundreds, if not thousands of people. So what's the right decision here? Is it right for him to let 100 to 1,000 people die? Or is it right for him to kill an innocent man? And that's the part that most people have a hard time agreeing on, where you're going to have to break one of the moral laws, killing the innocent man. So what's morally right? Although it's not right to execute an innocent man, it is right to save hundreds, if not thousands, of people for this sacrifice. So a utilitarian would sacrifice the one person to save the whole entire community, promoting more happiness. Alright, so if I was in the same scenario, and I'm sure some people are thinking, there's another way around it. we don't have to kill this one person in order to save hundreds of thousands of people. So I've come up with alternatives, like the judge could find the real culprit who committed the crime. He could fake the execution to satisfy the mob, or he could arrest all of the members of the mob, or protect the community. Just simply protecting the community. Alright? Now, it's great to think of alternatives where everyone's happy, but in some scenarios, everyone is not always going to be happy in the end. So my view is that if it really came down to either sacrifice this man and save this many people, there was no other alternative. That's what I would do, simply. Every situation can be completely different. If there's no other way out, rather than to say, this many people live, or this many live, then I'm going to promote the most happiness by saving the larger number of lives. So it's up to you. Are you a utilitarian?